So now I want to do something, it may seem a little silly, but I want to illustrate some more features that you can do working with your events. I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to create a no symbol. Now I've still got my marker board selected, and I'm going to create a couple ellipses. Now since the last fill that I worked with is that radial gradient, I don't want that. So let me clear out the search, set the fill to a solid red, and now I can continue. Let me draw my second ellipse. I'm going to use the Control key to select both ellipses, and I'm going to combine them, excluding the overlap. Now I just get a simple ring. Let me create a rectangle next, of roughly the same length. Use my selection tool to position it, and rotate it. Now with the rectangle and the path selected, combine them, and then I'm going to use my pen tool to just tidy it up a little bit. Instead of using the zoom tool, I'm just going to hold down the Alt key and spin my mouse wheel to zoom in. Now let me move this over my button directly. And I don't want to press the Alt key because I don't want to push my no symbol into my button. I'm going to name it No. And I'm going to initialize the visibility to hidden. So now what I want to do is when a mouse down event happens on the button, I want to make my no symbol visible. And when the mouse up happens, I want to make it invisible again. So let me select my button. Let me go into my events. And I'm going to add it on the mouse down. The code for this is pretty easy. It's simply this.no. Now my marker has my no symbol isn't showing up in my IntelliSense. Why is that? The reason is I haven't saved over in Blend yet, so you have to remember that Visual Studio and Blend are two different applications. They know how to work with each other, but they only transfer information from one application to the other when everything is saved. So let me switch back over to Blend, save, and for good measure, I'm going to build my application. Now it's going to complain because I haven't defined the Show No Event handler over in Visual Studio yet. Let me go ahead and fix that. So let me save here, and now when I press the dot, the fields for my no control are displayed. When you're working with Visual Studio, if you're looking for one of your visual elements and you can't seem to find it, go back to Blend and rebuild your project. Don't worry if it comes up with a complaint about an event handler not showing up, and then head back to Visual Studio. You'll usually get your elements to show up again, and now I can set my properties. I'm just going to set this.no.visibility equal to visibility.visible. Switch back over to Blend, and let's run. Now I'm going to click on the button, and my symbol's not showing up. Why is that? Now I know it's not because it's hitting my marker, because the button is clicking correctly, but for some reason I'm not getting my event. When you're working with mouse events, there's two sets of mouse events, mouse down and preview mouse down. Now how do you know which one to use? One of them is a bubbling event, the other is a tunneling event. What does that mean? To be honest, I'm not entirely clear on it myself. But I do find that when I'm working with these events, if one of the two events doesn't work, the other one usually will. So let me take that Show No handler off of mouse down and scroll down with the mouse wheel until I find Preview Mouse Down and try putting it there. I typed it in and pressed return. Visual Studio showed me the corresponding bit of code, so I've connected it to the event handler correctly. Switch back over to Blend and press F5. Now when I click on the button, my no symbol pops up for me. I've only created the event handler to show my no symbol. I now need to create the one to get rid of it. Since the preview mouse down worked correctly to show it, the preview mouse up should do sufficient to hide it again. So let me select Preview Mouse Up, do a Hide No, press Return, add the appropriate code, save it, switch back to Blend, and run. Now, when I hit the mouse button over the button, my No symbol pops up and it goes away as soon as I release the mouse. Remember that your mouse up, your mouse down, and all of those mouse events, in most cases, the standard events should work. If you need to, though, try using the preview events if the standard ones aren't working.